Bienvenidos a la clase de español. Welcome to Spanish 101. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the expectations that I have for you for the class, as well as how you can do well as a language learner. The first thing is you need to be prepared. You must study. You need to give yourself at least 15 minutes a day of the language. Any kind of practice that you choose to, make sure you break things up. There are a lot of things expected of you in this class online, and if you leave it all for 1 or 2 days in the weekend, it's going to be overwhelming. I don't accept late work. You are responsible for the material and managing your time wisely. Make sure that you do so. Be respectful. Be respectful to myself as well as everyone else in the class. You'll be interacting with the other students with voice messaging boards and written discussion boards. It's your responsibility to be as respectful as you can be. Talk to me. If you have any questions, make sure you ask them. Sometimes students are nervous to make a question because they don't want to sound like they don't understand. But the chances are you're not the only one. And if you don't ask the question, I can't clarify it for the rest of the students. Make sure that you ask the questions that you have on your mind. If you don't ask, you're cheating yourself of understanding. Also, to learn a language, guess what? You gotta speak. You didn't learn to walk sitting down, you're not gonna learn to speak Spanish silently. Practice is the best method of second language acquisition, and you've got to do your best to do it a little bit every day and take as many opportunities to speak the language. Group work is very important. Don't be intimidated to try and do the group work on the message and voice boards. You've got to try. Practice, I already mentioned it several times. Practice makes perfect. Practice is very important. But how do you practice? You make a mistake. You do your best. You say what comes out. And, sometimes it's not the perfect thing that comes out the first time. But the more you try it, the better you'll get. You're going to learn from your mistakes. So if you don't make them, you're not going to learn as much. When you were a baby and other babies that you've been around, they have never spoke any language without making grammatical errors and speaking in partial sentences and not complete sentences. It's important that you do what you can do as best as you can do it and learn from those mistakes. One thing that we can do if, say, we're having a hard time with some vocabulary. If you're having a hard time with vocabulary, you can use circumlocution. Okay, circumlocution might be a new word for some of you. Circumlocution has the prefix circ, which is circle. It's something that's moving in a circle. It's going around something. It's talking around the word that you don't know. You need to make a point, but maybe the vocab word has escaped you. Or maybe there's a phrase or something that you need to clarify and you don't know exactly how to say it. Well, that's what circumlocution is, and that's what it's for. So, for example, there's a word that I want to use. I want to talk to you about, but I can't remember how to say it. It's something about a large fish with big teeth. It's carnivorous. It has large fins, and it was the star of the movie Jaws. What was it? I'm sure you've already guessed. It's a shark. You're going to try to say things in many different ways, okay? You may want to say the same thing in a whole bunch of different ways. That is going to help you. And also, when you're learning your vocabulary, try to make associations between different words. Try to recognize the roots, the prefixes, the suffixes. This is going to help you remember as well as help you decipher new words that maybe you've never seen before. For example, the word escribir, to write, the verb to write in Spanish, escribir. When I look at that, I see scribe. A scribe is a person who writes, so I think of a scribe writing in his office. So think, what is escribir? You think of a scribe. Any other mnemonic devices like that will help you, so try to make associations whenever you can. Finally, when you're learning a language, you need to be open to new ways of thinking. Spanish is not a translation of English. It never will be, it never was. English is not a translation of Spanish. Japanese is not a translation of French. French is not a translation of Portuguese. They're all independent cultures, independent languages that have roots in common, that may have some things in common, but they are different ways of thinking. You need to learn to express yourself in a new culture. Sometimes that's the hardest part of learning a new language, but with practice, you'll get there as long as you have an open mind. Remember, Spanish is spoken in many parts of the world. Here we have Spain, the Canary Islands, Equatorial Guinea in Africa. We have many countries in South America, in the Caribbean, in North and Central America. Spanish is spoken many parts of the world, and we have to remember there's several different cultures and different ways of expressing oneself. All of these countries speak Spanish as well. So what did we learn? You need to practice every day at least 15 minutes to do well in a language. You can't be afraid to make mistakes. You're going to make them, and it's okay. You need to try your best and be open-minded. Also, remember, ask questions. Have a wonderful day and good luck with the assignments.